just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, ChristopherBlodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday. This week's topic: even when you're struggling, even when things seem hard, even if it seems hopeless, just keep moving forward. Hey guys, welcome back. And I want to apologize, of course, because I know that the last week's Real Talk Tuesday episode that posted, that technically was recorded a while back. That was recorded, was actually recorded when I got back from the trip, but then it was like, for a couple weeks at least, I couldn't post anything because the podcast hosting platform I had, being that I'm still trying to grow the show and all that fun stuff, I had it set on one of the highest plans, which was like $35 a month. And what I don't like about Red Circle compared to Captivate at least would give you had a little bit of a window, like, hey, your bill is overdue, and usually like by the end of like a week, like 5 days or something past your date, then you log in. You can still log in with Captivate. Like, I would love for them to sponsor me and stuff. A little shout out to Captivate, because I was with them for a couple years, for at least the first 2 years or whatever of the show. Or first couple years. I don't even know how long I've been doing this, man. Because I'm sure it's probably been longer than 2 years, because I know I did it before my daughter came back from when she had moved out and went to Kansas, and I was doing it before that. Then she lived with us for at least a year or so in Nashville before we came up here, and we've been up here for about a year, so hell, it's probably been like 3 or 4 years. Doesn't feel like that, because I'm nowhere, as far as the podcast goes, I'm nowhere near where I would have hoped to be by now. I would have hoped to have already been able to monetize, grow, have like, tens of thousands of downloads, not there yet, but I can only do so much with my current schedule. So it's like one of those where, like, I didn't go to school for like audio or media or anything like that. So, like, I'm not necessarily trained in this, but I've been kind of learning as I go. And if you're new to the show, to see what the difference is between now and at the beginning, I want you to go back to the very beginning of the show. Actually, I don't want you to, because it's pretty bad, but you should go back and check the first couple episodes, first like 10, 15, 20 episodes. I mean, by the 15 to 20 episode mark, I think that's when I started to, like, was doing doing edits, and I was starting to settle on a background music and sound effects and stuff. So I was trying to make it sound better. But the first 5 to 10 episodes don't sound great at all, especially the first couple. But I tried to edit those and try to make them sound better. And because I didn't realize I could use my Bluetooth headset that I use out here in the truck. I didn't realize I could use that to actually record on the phone. Like I thought I could, for whatever reason, I thought I could only use that for like phone calls and stuff. But once I figured I could do that, I was like, oh, cool, that changes things. All right, awesome. Like because I was like, man, I have to buy like a special mic for it, blah blah blah. But so once I figured that out, the episodes started to get a little bit better. There's a few of them that the background music changes between different. Like one episode might have one background music, another episode might have a different one. And I was kind of jumping around and I was trying to find one I liked, and one that would be easy to include, to add into the audio file and stuff when doing the edits. That's the other thing too, is like there's a lot of podcasters out there that literally have a little home studio. They have like professional like microphone and like a really good like desktop or laptop computer, and all this fun stuff at home. And they literally can go in there and like spend hours working on show, like bulk content creating or whatever, make multiple episodes, get everything edited, scheduled, uploaded, so that way they don't have to. They literally have things scheduled for like 2 months out. Whereas me, like I do my best to try to, if I could, like before having that long break. Which again, I want to go back to what I talked about before in the past, where I said that I try to keep consistent with the show, trying to get these, trying to record every week, because anytime I've taken a little bit of a break, because of just mental health in general, just life struggles, I find it really hard to try to come back. Like I'm never gonna not come back unless something happens and I'm just gone. Like I'm, get killed out here or something. But as long as I'm breathing and around, I'm gonna always be coming back here to make sure I do new content for you guys. But when I take time off, it is very hard. Well, and part of that too is like that might change here coming up, because things are changing a little bit at home. Part of why me and my wife are struggling right now, it's gonna be like we're losing half the household at home. My oldest daughter, like I said, she's been with us. She came back from Kansas after a year and a half when she moved out here. Things didn't work out. She came back home. We literally came out here to help her move back home because she ran into a tight spot. So we were like, yeah, well, like literally 2 days later, we were out here picking her and our grandkid up, and they were moving back home with us. So they've been with us for the past 2 years again. But me and my wife, we kind of talked to her a little, or my wife did at least, talked to her a little bit when we were moving up here because of the grandkiddos. Great school district up here. The buses literally pick him up and drop him off. Literally, they stop at the driveways, like they go through the neighborhoods near us, and they're literally like they'll either drop the kids off at the corner, like right next to us. But for the most part, for most of the year, the bus would literally stop in our driveway and let him off the bus, or stop in the driveway and pick him up. And it's like this whole year, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Like I wish my school bus or my bus stop when I was growing up was like right next to the house, because like I had to walk like 5 blocks away to go get the bus. And then we get dropped off, you got to do that long ass walk home or whatever. But so my wife, when we came up here, my wife kind of talked to her a little bit because she has a long-term boyfriend that they've been together at least a couple years. I don't know how long, probably 3 years, maybe longer, 3 or 4 years. He's come up here a couple times to visit, and he crashed at our house. Like he basically just stayed down on the first floor with her in her room. They would come up, make food, go back downstairs, hang out with the grandkiddo down there and stuff. And we hung out with him a little bit. He's a good guy. Kind of But before I go into about him a little bit, I guess halfway through the year, within the last couple months at least, it's probably more than halfway through, but probably within the past 3 or so months, we found out, because Allie, my oldest, kind of casually mentioned about, yeah, we're like, he's looking for a place for us in Georgia, blah blah blah. We're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, we're like, planning to move to Georgia, and like, he's looking for a place for him, me, and Alex, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, and I had to find out from my wife because she didn't even mention it to me, and I was like, oh, really? Okay. I was like, well, that's interesting. I was like, well, and he found them a rental house and stuff, and so we have a couple of departures. So, like, my grand kiddo, as of tomorrow, well, today technically, now it's after midnight, but he had his last day of school today, and then per the child support custody agreement with my daughter, he goes out to their house in Nashville for 6 weeks during the summer. We're all kind of concerned about that, as far as like how things are gonna go, if he's gonna last the full 6 weeks, or if it's gonna be a struggle, and like my daughter will have to go get him. But he's not coming back here at all. Like that, the plan basically is he's going down there, and in about a week, Allie's guy is basically coming up here, and then it's like 31st or something. And then on the 1st, they're getting a U-Haul and loading up her stuff and the grandkiddo stuff, and then doing the drive down to Georgia to literally move them down there. And so my grandkiddo is going from this being his home up here, going to stay with daddy for 6 weeks, but then not coming back, technically back, quote unquote, home. He's going home, but his home is going to be a different place, to be the new house down there in Georgia, or whatever. So we're pretty sure he's going to struggle with that a little bit, like a big change. All of a sudden, me, my wife, and our youngest, his auntie, are not going to be there. Like he's basically, they're going to have Allie's boyfriend and his mom and dad or whatever down there who've not met the grandkiddo. So, like up here, they have me, my wife, my youngest, and her family. Her like her sister and my wife's mom. Grandma up here. To down there in Georgia, and only having basically her boyfriend and his parents. So it's like, I'm like, oh, it's gonna. I hope it goes okay, of course. Like because all we care about is we want her to be happy. We want her to have everything she wants. But when we moved up here, like my wife, I almost said my mom. So yeah, my wife was talking to her about, like, I understand you guys might want to move to Georgia, but like might maybe give it a few years at least, like let him, be there for a couple of years, not have him live there for a year and then uproot him from school and move to another place. And at the time, my daughter was like, yeah, that makes sense, and I totally agree. But then, like I said, halfway through this year, or about 2/3 through this year, then we found out differently, and we're like, what changed? Like you were totally on board with like just trying to stability, But I'm pretty sure it's probably because her boyfriend doesn't want to leave Georgia, wants to stay near his parents or whatever, and she, of course, wants to make him happy, I guess. So I don't know, but he got them a house. It's not far from his parents. She's working a job up here that they don't have that. They don't have that that business down there in Georgia, so she'll have to basically restart what she was doing up here. Well, it felt like for at least half the year, because she was applying and interviewing everywhere and just couldn't seem to get a job anywhere until like a few months ago. But then she's gonna have to quit that job and apply and try to get in somewhere down there. But he's working, so at least So my wife and I are struggling with that a little bit as far as the grandkiddo, because we're like, he's leaving tomorrow, and like, we're not gonna see him for a while. And of course, my daughter's like, well, we're gonna come back and visit. I'm like, Allie, like, it's one thing for your boyfriend to fly out here, like one person flying out here to stay the week. but there's 3 of you, so I don't think you guys are gonna be able to. I mean, I'm not gonna put that. I'm gonna say it's gonna be very costly for 3 people to fly out here. I was like, I don't think you're gonna want to drive because 800-mile trip. That's a long drive. Like hell, just take a week off. 4 of those days, or like 3 or 4 of those days, are gonna be driving unless you do like 800 miles in one trip, which I've done. My parents live in down there around the Oklahoma City region, like a little bit west, and it's 800, it's like just shy of 800 miles from Nashville. It was like 785 or something. I just rounded up. I said, oh, it's 800 miles. I literally, that's why I love having a pickup, like a crew cab pickup truck or whatever, because it's got the bigger tanks versus like a regular car. My Ram that I had at the time could get, it was like 300 and something miles per tank in the city, like stop and go, commute, whatever. On the highway, it was close to 400. So like I would fill up the tank and I would get like halfway to my parents' house before I'd have to, like I would try to push for that 400-mile mark, and I would be getting down there near the empty line. I'd be like, I gotta stop soon. Like if my wife was with me, she would have been like panicking, like freaking the fuck out. Say, why are we going slow, man? But it's like 55 and they're going 45, and they come on, man. So they were braking somewhere. Why are we braking? I guess I'll try to get over and pass you. It's a U-Haul that doesn't actually know how to go the speed limit. Say, come on, dude, you're not gonna roll your truck by going the speed limit, I promise. Then you pass them, you see the phone up on the dash, and it's got like a movie playing. Oh, that explains why you're not driving the way you're supposed to, because you're watching a movie while you're driving. So, trying to remember what I was saying before. I got distracted, but so yeah, it's gonna be quite an adjustment from down there. But I was talking to my daughter, and I was like, cause we have we have a handful of friends in Nashville that and my VA doctor is technically still in Nashville. Like I really enjoyed it when I took that 2 weeks off. Those first 3 days technically, because I stayed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. And then we took off Tuesday morning to drive back here. I saw my doctor Monday afternoon. Went and saw my friend Willow. Monday afternoon, and met his roommate. Went out and got some burgers or whatever. That was cool, but one thing that I'm with him, I'm kind of like, you kind of wonder about some, when you have like your circle of friends, like some friends of mine, like we're like, whenever we talk, we're really close, but then we'll go long periods of time without talking. But usually if they message me, I respond, or if I send a message to them, I usually hear back from them. We might not talk, have a full-on conversation, but it'll be like, hey man, hope you're doing well. Hey, thanks for checking on me, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. How you doing? Yeah, I'm doing good. Okay, cool. Well, just let me know if you ever need anything. I'm out here. Okay, gotcha. But like Willow, like he and I will go back and forth, do voice clips. Like at least we did when he was living in a different apartment. He'd message me late some nights, whatever, on his way back home. But now he lives close to work, so it's like I've probably messaged him about 6 voice clips over the past couple weeks. Just and it shows the little check marks, so it shows that he's actually like seen them. But all 6 of those messages have gone unanswered. I'm going, that's interesting. I was like, all right, I won't message you anymore for a minute. I'll wait until you reply back to me, and if you don't, then next time I come to Nashville, I won't go above and beyond and make the effort to actually like get in touch with you. I'll be like, well, like why should I I don't like being the one that makes the effort, like in anything. Like if I'm the one that's making the effort with you, and all you're doing is like, yeah, I'm here, go ahead. Because I'd say like, hey, I'm over at this hotel or whatever. He goes, yeah, if you want to come over to my work or whatever, and then maybe we can go to the apartment and we'll go grab something to eat. And I'm thinking like, why don't you come over here? Like I'm in town you know, like staying in this hotel, I'm over here, or whatever, but you want me to come out there and find you. It's like, good old bypass on the way station. My buddy Dave up there, part of the Raw Chat crew or whatever, he's like, level up. But, I really enjoy it. I mean, aside from, like I would have loved to stay there a little bit longer, but money was a little bit tight. So it's like this was like $450 for the hotel, and then they don't tell you until you check in. Oh, by the way, we also have to charge you $100 deposit. But don't worry, you'll get that back within 5 days. I'm like, why do I have to pay a deposit? Like, you guys already charged my card for the room. Like, I paid for it already, and it's not paid with cash. It's on a card. So like, oh, it's just a security deposit just in case, like, if there's anything damage, whatever. Like, so there was $100. I was like, well, I had plans. I kind of budgeted, but okay, I'll pay it. Why not? Okay, but so I had mentioned to my daughter that, like, well, if we come down there to Nashville for a couple days or a week or whatever, just to visit friends, or maybe come, because I mean, there's things in Nashville that we never did. Like, we didn't really go to places downtown like honky tonks or anything, or clubs or bars or anything like that, because I hated driving downtown unless I absolutely had to. But if I'm traveling there to visit, I can totally see either catching an Uber from the hotel that I stayed at last time, which I think I'm a loyal customer with them now, because we stayed there once when we were moving out and they didn't accept pets, and so I wasn't sure that I was going to go back there. But then I went ahead and booked there with my daughter, my youngest. When I took those 2 weeks off, they actually do accept pets now. Like, they let dogs and whatever, dogs and cats, whatever. Like, oh, they actually take animals now. That's cool. And the rooms are really nice. The beds are awesome. I mean, the thermostats. Like, my daughter, I woke up with my teeth chattering in the morning because I was like, holy crap, it's fucking cold in here. Went over to look at the thermostat, and she, I guess, in like half sleep state, because she said, well, I got hot, so I went over and I turned the thermostat down. Like, you turned it down to 55. I was like, that's a great temperature, especially outdoors. Like, being out there like shorts, but having like a hooded sweatshirt, that's great. It's where it's cool. It's not warm, but it's not warm enough to where you want to be out there like a t-shirt per se. Because you might be like a little bit cool. Like, I'm not cold until it's like 40s. But when I'm in bed though, I'm in like basically sleeping in shorts. So like, nothing else on, just shorts, no shirt, whatever. And it's like you wake up, you're like. So I bumped the temperature up to like 62 just to be like, all right, cool. She's like, sorry, Dad. Like, no worries, it's all good. I was like, not a big deal. I was like, I was just surprised it was down that low. Most thermostats in hotels, you're lucky if it'll let you bump it down to like 68 or something. So I was like, hey, that's really cool. And the blinds, what they have covering the window, it's like perfect. Like, I need one of those for my room. At my house, because like the fact that I go to sleep during the day, and so like I have blackout curtains, but they don't really black out the room. Like, they do block out probably about 90% of the light. So there's still light coming around the edges of and the top of the window, and so it's like it could be like quite a bit dark in the room, unless it's like really, really bright outside. Then it'll be like a little bit of a dim light in the room. So it's like it's dim and dark enough that I can go to sleep, but wouldn't mind it being like completely blacked out. We got down there, I think it was like 2 a.m. when we finally got to the hotel, because we got held up in a traffic accident, and we were up to like 4 or 5 because we were trying to get food that late, and like 5 we finally, we'd eaten our food and we're still hanging out or whatever. And I was like, like, they do breakfast at 6. Like, we're still up. Why don't we just stay up for another hour and let's go down there and get breakfast? But let's grab, take plates, like, load it up with whatever we want to get, bring it back up here, put it in the fridge, and that way we can heat it up later. And she's like, yeah, that sounds good. We brought both of us brought like 3 things of, or 3 little cups of like the cranberry juice or whatever. And we had our plates and we stuck them in the fridge. And I was like, all right, cool. And then we went to bed, and like we're talking like 6:30, when it's getting light outside, and I couldn't tell inside the room at all because there was like the whatever they have covering the window covers it completely. Like there was no light coming in at all. And I'm like, well, I love this. Like, this is awesome. The only time that actually is not awesome is when you like wake up from like a nightmare, like you can't see anything in the room, and you're like hyperventilating because you're like, something's in here with me. But then you flip the light on and go to the bathroom and take a drink of water, and you're like, okay, I'm good. So, but crashed at like 6:30. I woke up at 4. My daughter had been up since I'd been up for like 2 hours. I think at that point she was getting ready or whatever, because basically when part of the plan us going down there was she's gonna meet up with 2 of her friends. So like she's gonna meet up with her friend Ace the first night, but not gonna stay the night with her. Was gonna actually hang out and come back to the hotel. But the second night she was gonna stay with her friend Jinx and actually like stay the night at their house or whatever. So literally when she was over there with Ace, I got on the computer for a minute, and just kind of hanging out, and then I was like, I realized, how there's always something, like especially if you rush to pack stuff, you always end up like there's always something. You're like, you'll be like, what did I forget? Like I feel like I forgot something, but you won't be able to figure it out. You'll be like, I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure there's something I'm missing. Well, I realized what it was. First night at the hotel, I was figured out. Let me go ahead and actually like get actual clothes on, and like maybe go out in the little dog walk area in the hotel grounds, and just go out there. Figured maybe go out there and like do a recording or bring the computer out there with me or something. But I went to go get dressed, and I realized that basically, as far as I had pants, shirts, and socks, and I had my slip-on shoes that you don't have to tie, the ones that they're like fully enclosed except for the back, where you slip them on that way. It's a little bit better than like flip-flops as far as like protecting your feet or whatever. But so I had all that, and I had like my CPAP, I had my chargers, my computer, all the main stuff, and go like the toiletry bag, like little bag, the little zip pouch that has like toothbrush, deodorant, and all that fun stuff, and like medications and stuff, like for like sleep meds and stuff. But I realized, I was like, I didn't pack any boxer briefs, I didn't pack any underwear. I was like, oh, well, fuck, except for what I keep down there in. So I was like, well, shit, I still got 2 more nights. So I basically, I got dressed with what I had, and I went to Walmart. So I had to go there, buy a pack of box briefs, and I think I needed like some meds or whatever, because I had like a headache, like a migraine coming on. I didn't have anything for it, so I found like aspirin or whatever, which nothing against aspirin, but like that's the first time that I think I don't know if I've ever taken it in the past. Like I've always done like ibuprofen, acetaminophen, and like usually will knock out your headache. I took like 4 aspirins, and I was like, it dulled it a little bit, but I was like telling the wife, I was like, I don't know if aspirin just isn't as potent as like ibuprofen, because like I took 4 or 5 aspirin, I said I still had a headache, like it didn't go away, and she goes, yeah, aspirin sucks. I was like, okay, but so went to Walmart and stuff, and, I was coming out of there, and my daughter was texting me, he's like, hey, so I'm on my way, like the Ace is bringing me back to the hotel shortly or whatever. Okay. I was like, well, I was thinking about going to hit the Mexican restaurant and grab tacos. You want some? She goes, yeah. I'm like, all right. I was like, I'll swing through there to try to pick you up. Oh, initially I went down to where you normally get tacos out of, but that place, for whatever reason, even though it was still early enough, that place was closed. I was like, why are you closed at 8:30? You guys are open till 9:30. Like, that's weird. Probably slow, I'm thinking, but or maybe they changed their hours on Sunday. Maybe Sundays they close earlier. Who knows? But there's another Mexican place down the street that I had never gone to, but it popped up on DoorDash, and so I was like, I went ahead and placed a pickup order with them, and then ran back to the hotel to pick my daughter up, and then ran over there to the Mexican place to pick up the food. It was stopped at Circle K on the way home to grab more drinks, snacks for the hotel and stuff. So yeah, but it was basically when I didn't have to do anything, I was literally just chilling out at the hotel. Like I didn't, I wish I could have had a couple more days, because I would have literally probably spent a lot more time relaxing. But since I only had Sunday and Monday before because we got there so late on Saturday, it didn't even feel like we were there Saturday. Like, got there like 2 a.m. Sunday morning and, crashed, and then had Sunday, Monday. I already kind of researched a little bit as far as like, even though I love the drive, I don't mind the drive, but as far like I'm looking into flights when traveling to certain locations, because I'm thinking I love to drive, but I don't mind. I would almost think I'd rather bite the bullet, pay a little bit more, fly, and get down somewhere like whether it's Georgia or Nashville. Definitely, if we go out there to Philly to see the East Coast fam, kind of thinking we'd fly just so that we would get out there quick and we wouldn't lose an entire day, or well, in Nashville's case or in a East Coast case, we would lose like a day and a half of whatever days we're off just traveling there, and then a day and a half to come back. And it's like, yeah, I like the road trip part. I think when I achieve what I'm working on, getting myself fully retired and home full time, when traveling those places, I think I would totally drive it, because time's not going to be an issue. Like if I don't have to leave by a certain date, or don't have to come back by a certain date, I can be like, you know what, let's either rent, or if I own a motorhome at that point, hey, let's get the animals, like the dog and the cats, all in the RV. Let's take off, and we'll detour to Georgia first to see Allie, Logan, and Alex, and then we'll head up towards Nashville, or towards Philly. Because when time's not an issue, and we're making money online, and money's coming in, and I'm not having to really like actively be anywhere, or putting in actual like 5 or 10 hours of work every day to make the money, then then I'll just be like, hey, let's travel over here. Could potentially still fly from Kansas City to Philly, though, since that trip is 1,400 miles. Even if we have the time, might be better just to go ahead and fly and get out there quick anyway. Be like, yeah, we're gonna be out there like 4 hours instead of like 20. But so sorry for all the rambling stuff. It's been a while and stuff, and I've been telling myself, hey, I need to get back on here and get back into these recordings. And I'm working on multiple things. There actually might be a official Shopify store pretty soon that'll actually be the official like merch, so to speak, for the Blodgett Show. I don't know if that's what the store is going to be called, but the main product, I believe, will be like coffee and stuff like that. And there's going to be like hoodies and coffee mugs and stuff like that. So it might be something like, actually, I'm not going to say it on the show because trademark. But I don't think it's going to be like Blodgett Show Coffee or something. It'll probably be something else. But whatever it is, it'll be like such and such Coffee Co. or blah blah blah. Official, the official, coffee of Blodgett Show podcast. But just know that there are things in the works. Things are coming. Hell, there's actually a guy that's been talking to me on Threads. It's been talking to me about how he can promote the show and actually like boost the audience, like get us to where we're like have tens of thousands of downloads within a short time frame. And initially he was the thing he was talking to me about was like $300 a month, and I was like, I don't know if I want to commit to that right now. I was like, that's I mean, I can afford it, but I'm very Like, I'll invest that in a heartbeat in something if it's like, hey, this makes sense. I think I can make money with this. I think I could actually build a stream of income that might eventually replace what I'm currently doing. Sure, I'll invest. You know, even if it falls through, I'll be like, well, I tried. You know, like it didn't. You know, I thought it was gonna work out, but it didn't. Oh man, you know. But I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. You know, and like I always say, guys, we only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as we, and I think some of the acronyms for fail is like first attempt in learning. So it's like, you know, fail as many times as you want. You know, like keep failing until you figure out something that works. You know. Apologies, I'm just taking a sip of my coffee. But so there's been a few things recently where you know, I invest like $20 to get a membership with this one service or whatever. And one of them was supposed to be like, it was like, because I'm working on not just doing an online store. Obviously, I'm here on the podcast. I've got books that are are written, like 2/3 of the way written or something, and just need to be completed. So those will be eventually published. And I'm also I'm obviously got the YouTube channel, which right now, for those of you who are new, basically just look me up. Literally on YouTube at ChristopherBlodgett. There will probably be a YouTube channel for the show itself at some point, but that's the thing. Talking to the guy that was saying $300 a month, he when I said yeah, I gotta think about that because I don't know. I was like, that's a good chunk of change per month. I don't know if I want to do that, you know. But then he came back a day or two later and said, well, I understand the upfront cost is, that can be overwhelming. So how about this? How about a partnership deal? I said, how does that work? And he's like, basically, all that will be required on your end is you just do your posts, or you just, record your episodes, just get them posted. And, every week, just, on schedule, just like you're doing right now. And I was like, okay, well, I haven't for the past 2 months. Or at least a month and a half. Well, I guess it's been about 2 months, but he's like, you just gotta do your episodes, just get those posted, blah blah blah. Okay, he goes, I'll do what I'm gonna do, to basically to expand the audience, get in front of more people, boost the downloads, blah blah blah. Because I told him, but then I was like, all right, what's the catch? Like, what's the partnership? Where he goes, basically, when you start bringing in revenue for the show, we split it 50-50. I'm like permanently, 50% split or a 50-50 split, permanently, even after the show, let's say, grows massively and we're making. He goes, yeah. I'm like, so I was like, I don't know about that, because at first when I was talking to him, I was like, that feels like I'd be, because when the show starts bringing in consistent revenue every month, it's literally, Blodgett Show will literally be business. And if I'm giving away 50% of the revenue because he's promoting and all that, I was telling him, that feels to me like I'd be giving away 50% of the business, and yet I'm the one that's recording, getting the episodes, doing the editing, getting them scheduled, getting them uploaded. So I was like, I gotta think about that. I'm not sure. He goes, I understand. Yeah, no worries. Just let me know. I'm here or whatever. I'm like, okay. So the next day I was messaging my bro Rico, and I messaged in my family chat with my family home. I was basically, hey guys, I need your advice. I need your opinion, what you think about this. And I told him about the guy, and I said that here's how I feel about it. I was like, yeah, it sounds great. And I don't have to pay him anything up front. He's just wanting 50% of the revenue that comes in. I was like, but I feel like I'd be giving away half the business. What do you guys think? And Rico was like, actually, bro, that's actually a pretty good deal because you're saving a lot of money up front. You may not be making as much over long term because you're, half of it you're splitting between you and him. But I would have some contracts stating within a certain time frame, a year or something, that you have the option to buy them out or something. And so I was like, yeah, I don't want it to be an open-ended, hey, you're 50% permanently. My thought process with it when I was telling him about it was that I don't mind the idea of having that kind of a partnership deal for a set amount of time. Like, you know, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna be partner, or we're gonna be split 50-50 on the revenue for like 12 months or 2 years or something. But not like, hey, 10 years from now we're bringing in a lot of money with the podcast, and I'm still splitting it with you, you know. But at the same time, I was thinking about that, going, it would make sense to still be in that position if, like, he's still doing what he's doing, and we're still getting more listeners, the revenue is going up, you know, then it would make sense, you know. But at the same time, I'm thinking, if you start getting traction, or you get a lot of listeners, let's say you grow a show to the point where you have a couple 100,000 listeners or a couple million listeners, your show is probably going to start organically growing on its own, because you're going to have so many listeners that are then going to tell other people about your show, and then you're going to get more listeners because of word of mouth, so it won't need as much of like, hey, I got to get in front of all these other people. But I'm still considering it, still thinking about it, and so I reached out to him, I think last night actually, and I basically was like, hey, so do you have any references or like anything showing that you can actually do what you say you can do? And he sent me a couple screenshots of like showing like 10,427 downloads over the course of 30 days and this and that, or the course of a week, or I don't know. There's like two different images that had different numbers. One had a couple 100,000, one had like 80,000, or one had a couple 100,000, one had 10,000, something like that. I was like, okay, all right, you know. So then we was talking a little bit more about it. I was like, well, like, so after asking a bunch of questions, all right, well, what would you need from me, you know? And he was like, or what would we do? And he was like, basically 50-50 split. I'm like, okay. I was like, all right, well, what would you need from me to start? And he goes, I would need access to your hosting. And I'm like, that's not terrifying. He goes, you don't have to be afraid. Nothing bad's gonna happen. He goes, I just need access so I can, like, I need to update settings, and, you know, all this and that, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. My hosting platform, Red Circle, you know, I think I might have a referral link, but I don't know. If any podcasters out there listening to this, you want to try Red Circle out, feel free to message me at blodgettshowpodcast@gmail.com, and I can try to see, I can reply to you and send you a referral link for Red Circle. If I think we got them. I don't know if we have, because I've never referred anybody. I think Captivate, I was able to refer people to that one and get, like, you know, get like rewards, or like you got a percentage when they're paying their bill or something. You got like monetary rewards. I don't know what Red Circle does though, but send me an email if you're a podcaster looking for a new platform, and you know, I'll send it out to you. But so, I went and looked at it, because part of why I was gone for at least the first couple weeks was because of the fact that I was like, you know, trying to get some bills caught up. We had some big things that we had to pay, and money was a little bit tight, so I was kind of holding off on paying that $35 to the hosting platform. But especially because it's like, I kind of felt like I was wasting money. Like, I'm on the top plan, but I'm not able to be on their advertising platform yet because I don't have enough downloads. So why the hell am I up here on this top? So after about a month and a half, I reached out to Red Circle. I said, I want to get my show back on track, but I don't qualify for your advertising, and I feel like I'm wasting money on the $35 plan. Is it possible to downgrade to the free one so I can resume downloads and not be shelling out money just you know, paying money that I, you know, could use for other stuff? They're like, yeah, we downgraded you. You're all set. Your account is unsuspended. You can log back in and do what you gotta do. I'm like, all right, cool, thank you. So, you know, when talking to the guy, and he was saying about, you know, he needs access to the admin, whatever. Apparently at Red Circle, I could add team members, so I could add somebody in there and give them certain abilities that they could do. But I'd have to be back on the top plan. So you gotta have a pro account. I'm like, I just downgraded from that. I don't want to go back to that. So I messaged him like, well, it looks like in order for me to give you access, I gotta upgrade and get to that plan. I would have to pay $35. Really don't want to do that, you know. But at the same time, I'm thinking, if this guy can do what he says he can do, the show would massively grow, and maybe with that would would mean that we'd start getting, start be able to get on their advertising platform, start bringing revenue with that, maybe start getting donations because of a higher listener count, whatever, So, like, all right, let's see. But so I've got that in the works. I've got the online store that I actually did one of those free where they build your Shopify store for free. So I've got one of those that actually has decent products in it. But I'm trying to figure out how to best go about getting the site out there in front of people, because I'm you know how it is. I'm always trying to do whatever I can to try to figure out how I might be able to get that first solid income stream online that would then help me to get out of what I'm currently doing, and then to go back, to kind of circle back to as far as like losing half the household. When they move, that means that we're gonna have 2 of our 4 bedrooms are gonna be vacant. So we've already like within the past 3 or 4 months, me, my wife, and our youngest were already like talking about like, yeah, we're gonna put like couches in those rooms that have the pull-out bed, so they'll technically still be a guest room. It's not gonna have an actual like bed setup, like bedroom furniture in there, but it'll have the couch where somebody can come in there and crash and pull the little pull-out bed part of it. But otherwise, we're gonna have desks and have like an office space set up in there. I thought about maybe in my grandson's soon-to-be former room, even though my wife pulled him aside last week or whatever, because Allie's talked to him about it, but I don't think I don't know either. She hasn't really like, do you understand what we're talking about, baby boy? She's talked to him about it, but then my wife talked to him about it, like, yeah, when you go down to see Daddy, you're not gonna come back here afterwards. She's like, what? Like, yeah, you're going home to your new home in Georgia with Mommy and Mr. Logan, and he's like, I'm not coming home. Like heartbreak right there, because she's like, baby boy, like, this is always gonna be your home. Like, you can always come back. Like, there's always gonna be a place for you. We're gonna come down and visit. You guys are gonna come up and visit. So he was crying. My wife was crying. She's telling me about it. I'm crying. It's like, because it's like, oh man. I told my wife that I'm not gonna lie, I really wish that she hadn't made this decision. Because I thought that we were all on the same page about like stability for the grandkiddo. Like, hey, like, don't jump them around in schools. Don't jump them around in new houses. Because we're working on buying our current house, so like we're planning to be in our house for a long time. But they're going down there to rent this one house for like $600. You never know how long you're gonna be able to rent a house for. The owner rent. We were in a house out there in Philly when we first moved out there. We had made an agreement with that homeowner, like we were renting. We had a 2-year agreement, and we were trying to figure out the credit so we could actually get mortgaged. But like my credit sucked at the time, and credit repair wasn't anywhere close to as good as it is now. So I was trying to, all the credit repair people that you talked to back then would basically be like, all they'd recommend is, oh, you got to pay off this and pay off that. I'm like, okay, well, I got to have money to do that. So I pay off this $4,000 collections from like 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, well, that ain't going to happen anytime soon. So we got to the 2 years with that house. We went month to month because she was still wanting us to buy the house, and we're like, well, we're not there yet. We're still working on it. She goes, okay, yeah, we'll go month to month, and hopefully you guys get there. But then randomly she's like, oh, by the way, I just sold the house, and you guys have 30 days to move. And we're like, huh, okay. And we were out within a week, but we technically were supposed to get a deposit back, but because we didn't stay there that last month, like we were told like the last week of February, I think, and we were out by March 1st, and technically we had till the end of March, because of the notice or whatever. So she was like, well, you guys left before the 30 days or whatever, and we're like, yeah, because you were selling the house, so we found another place to move. We didn't wait, like we just found a place that was available now, and we went ahead and did the move and got in there. I'm keeping your deposit. Okay, whatever. So, but it's just one of those, it's really tough, because I'm trying to basically, like, we're glad that she's leaving on good terms this time. Like last time when she left in Nashville, she literally just like one day all of a sudden she was just packing a truck and leaving, and we're like, what the hell's going on? Like, what are you doing? I'm leaving. Why? Because I hate it here. Blah blah blah. You guys are controlling. Blah, blah. What the fuck? Like, what did we do? Like, what happened? Like, why are you pissed off? Like, what's going? You know. At least this time it's been planned. Like, he got to the place, they posted the picture of the place in the group chat and said, hey, that's our new place, Logan's moving in there in a couple weeks to start getting things set up. And we're like, oh, what? Oh, okay, cool. So we've been basically like, you know, we've expressed, yeah, we're sad that you're leaving, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, and, you know, we just want to be in your life. So, like, you know, we want you to be happy, so, like, do what you gotta do, and hopefully we, you know, don't go estranged when you move. Say, no, we're gonna come back and visit, blah blah blah. Okay. It's funny with our the new pet addition, our pup. Allie's been very close with her. Like, she literally will sleep down there in the basement or the first floor in her room on her bed with her, and it's like, you're gonna leave for like the next couple weeks, and you know, she's gonna miss you. That's like, Allie's like, yeah, I know. They can't have any pets in their new house, the house they're gonna be renting down there. So it's like, well, so I'm like, well, as much as you wanna always protect them, always provide for them, always have them there, I figure obviously they want their independence, you know. Her and Logan, they want to have their own place, be their own place with Alex, whatever. It's like, I'm thinking, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna be things that she doesn't handle here, like the utilities, and like I literally cover rent and utilities myself, and on occasion Allie's been able to help a little bit, like $100 towards something, but it's like just going down there where they're gonna be fully independent. So it's like I'm worried for her and stuff, but I'm happy for her. Cause I know it's what she wants. Like, they want to get their. I don't know if move down there was like a joint decision, or if it was Logan basically, you know, pushing for them to come down there because of you know, him not wanting to leave his folks, and then Allie just basically wanting to make him happy. He's like, yeah, we'll move down there. That's fine. Like, you're moving away from everybody though. Like, like. Everybody, you know, the hell, your siblings, both of them, are up here. Your mom, me, the pup, your grandma, your aunts, or your aunts and uncles, whatever, they're up here. Like, everybody's up here except for out there in the East Coast in Philly. So I worry about her and stuff, but I figure the way I'm looking at it is like she needs to spread her wings and fly or whatever, and, you know, hopefully, but we're still telling her, obviously, like, hey, like, obviously, like, you know, that you always have a place here, like, if you, before she leaves, I'll basically let her know, like, hey, dude, like, obviously, it's 800 miles, it would be difficult for us to get down there if you need us, but if you need us, let us know, and it might take us a couple of days to plan something, but we'll figure it out, and we'll come down and help you out, or come down and help you with Alex to back here. But her boyfriend reminds me a lot of myself, as far as, like, he seems like, cause I mean, hell, you found them a place and setting up all the services and stuff like that. So, like, whereas like me up here, I pretty much handle and carry the weight of the family for the most part, especially on a financial. But the wife handles a lot of the stuff at home, as far as, like, you know, towards like groceries or, you know, ordering stuff that needs to get replaced, you know, refilled or replaced at the house. She takes care of all that or whatever. So, but it's gonna be a change for her. You know, she's going down there. She has her boyfriend, maybe future husband, you know, having him taking care of her and stuff. But hopefully everything goes well. You know, she's in my thoughts. Her and my grandkid are in my thoughts and prayers, and just, you know, well wishes and hoping that everything goes well and stuff. You know. And I expressed to her this morning before, when the grandkid was leaving on the bus to go to school for the last day up here in Missouri, you know, I told her, I was like, obviously, like, I'm saddened about you guys going, but, you know, I was like, try to think of it along the lines of, you know, Alex has been with us, so he's 7, so it's like, he's been with us the majority of his life, except for the 1.5 years that you guys moved up here. But otherwise, you guys have been with us, and so like, he already has a really good bond with us, so I don't think that that's gonna change. I was like, obviously we're gonna try to get him a tablet, like an iPad or something, and probably get us, me and my wife, iPads as well, and do that way we can do FaceTime with him or message him when he's down there and stuff. But I said, obviously we're gonna get him a tablet at some point, but I said, probably either gonna ship it to you or send it down there with you. I said, I'm not sending it with him to his dad's house. She goes, oh hell no, because his device would probably get broken or lost or whatever, and be like, we need you guys to pay to replace that, because that was expensive. That was an expensive device. But we've just been trying to make the most of it and stuff. I've been making sure anytime I'm there this week, before he went to school, I was like, hey, Bubba dude, come give me hugs. They love you too. Have a good day at school, okay. I know that in 48 hours, I won't be able to hug him for a while and stuff. Won't be able to see him very much. But so the wife and I, there's been emotional moments, listening to songs, singing those songs, and randomly just sobbing, talking to the wife. She said, my chest hurts. I'm like, yeah, mine too. I was like, I really wish he wasn't doing this, but, I was like, at the same time, I was like, want her to have that independence that she wants, versus like living with us. Like, I'm literally handling everything, so she's basically just been home. She works her job, she collects paychecks, does what she wants with the checks, and I don't ask her for, like, when my wife would ask for stuff, like, hey, can you take care of such, or can you chip in? And she tells me, like, ask Ellie, she'll help her. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I got it. I'm taking care of it. Oh, she's on the lease too. She can do it too. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'd rather not. I'm not. That's just how I am. I just don't ask for help unless it's absolutely necessary. Like, if I have no way to do what I'm trying to do, like if a bill has to get paid this week, but I don't have the money for it because I paid everything else, I'll be like, hey guys, like, can you guys help me with such and such, because I paid rent, utilities, this and that, whatever. One week it was like $3,200 that went out between rent, utilities, and a half a car payment to my truck. It was like $2,600. Actually, it was $2,700, and then 400 and something. So it's $2,700 to the rent, utilities, and then like 400 and something to my truck, my car payment or whatever. And it's like, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty tapped after paying out this much. Like, I really need you guys' help. And they were able to do it. Like, my wife and Allie were able to. Like, yeah, we have like 140. I'm like, well, the rent center bill is 185, but 140 would definitely be a huge chunk off it. I could do the other 45. That's not a problem. I just don't have the full 185, and they won't let us delay. Like, if we miss one payment, one weekly payment with them, all of a sudden it's like auto pickup. Like, they, if you don't pay your bill, they schedule it to basically show up at your house and collect your items that you're paying on. And I'm like, we've been paying on you guys for a while, so we're not like, we ain't giving that shit up. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you guys try to go to the Blodgett Show website, but it's currently down, because again, like, there's an overdue balance I gotta pay. But what I did, so that I have a link up there for anybody who wants to support the show, as I copied and pasted the donate link, or donation link from my Red Circle account into the show notes. So it has information about like the social media page, and it has the donation link and stuff. I'll mention it here a little bit as far as like, to like close us out or whatever. But so sorry to ramble on for this past hour, but I think part of why I enjoy doing these episodes and this real talk is because I just like keeping it real with you guys. It definitely helps me a little bit. It's almost like when I'm talking to you guys, I'm talking it through myself as well. Like getting it out there and not holding on to it or whatever. And that's important. Like, if you have any outlets at all, people you can talk to, if you're struggling, whatever, find something you can talk to, or somebody you can talk to. Find or do a journal, or like a video, like a vlog, video log, or whatever, something, or an outlet that you can, burn some energy, like going out there and kickboxing, or go for a run, or just doing something to like let off some steam, whatever. But never fully give up, never fully let it overwhelm you, because it's interesting. On the other side of the interstate going towards St. Louis, there's thought it was a cop car, had the flashy red blue lights, but then I passed it and it was a tow truck, but it's just sitting there on the shoulder with its lights on. And I'm like, I don't see any backups on that side, so I don't know why he's over there. You would think that's kind of a warning, like there's traffic stopped ahead. No, there isn't. I don't know what you do with me, but so but you know what I always say, guys, keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. One other thing I forgot to mention earlier, one other thing I'm working on too, because I'm working on the online store, working on trying to grow the podcast to where we can monetize that, different income streams, but I'm also working on growing my current YouTube, and then I'm gonna have add other channels that I'm because basically my goal is to monetize my YouTube channel as well, because I'm all about passive income streams. Like, there's too many things out there that I get all sorts of advertisements from people about they're building a team for this, they're building a team for that, and I literally say the same thing. I'm not interested. I was like, I really can't. I'm not that big on getting people signed up under me, because people will join you and then fall off. You got to be able to find people that actually want to build as well, so that way you get 10 people under you that also are builders, then they each get 10 people under them, and so on and so forth, and before you know it, you have this massive income stream. But if you get 10 people and 9 of them are just basically they're signing up and hoping to get rich without any effort, all right, well, I guess I'll help you guys too. But gonna have monetized through YouTube, gonna have a online, at this point probably a couple online e-commerce stores that are one of them being the unofficial or official merch for the podcast and stuff. Still trying to work out the details, but of course, I'm always tired. 6 or 7 hours of sleep most days or whatever, and it's I do my best to try to think and figure things out, but then I got the stuff at home. The departures that'll be happening. My grandkid will leave tonight, which I'll see him a little bit. I'll see him before I leave to go to work. Thought he was gonna leave in the morning, so I thought, I thought Friday was gonna be the last day I would see him, and then I wouldn't see him before. Thought about it. Hey, I wonder if I should just take the day off or whatever, so I can hang out with him. But he's at that age right now where he really he just wants to be downstairs in the game room playing his games on his Switch. Literally has it playing on the TV. He's all dancing in front of the TV, and I was like, yeah, he doesn't. He just wants to play his games. We want to hang out with him, we want to spend time with him, but he's thinking about, he's a kid. He's thinking I want to play my games. I don't want. Because we're going to go to Best Buy with my youngest, because she graduated, and so she's got a scholarship to a Kansas City Art Institute, starting in the fall, and so she got a gift card from her grandmother in Kansas City for $800 to go get an iPad, and I may or may not be getting a MacBook for my parents for her for school, whatever. I don't know. I say I don't know because they've talked about it and they've asked me about what kind of computer does she need a computer for school. I'm like, yeah, the school recommends a MacBook, 500 gig gig hard drive at least minimum with this specs or whatever. They're like, well, Maddie's looking at different computers that have that specs and blah blah blah. So if you look too and you find some, let us know. I was like, well, the ones I recommended are the MacBook, so I don't know what other computers might have the same specs, but so I don't know what to expect if she's gonna get a computer from my parents or not. Which either way, because I know they're retired, so it's like they don't have to, you know. Obviously, if they did, I know Zoe would be really happy, and I know I'd appreciate it. But I could eventually try to get her a MacBook by the end of the summer, possibly. You know, I could probably try to put money aside for it, you know. But or you know, thought about as I grow these income streams and get to where I can retire myself and be home full time, me getting a better computer and giving her my current MacBook. But I don't know if my current MacBook would be enough for her school stuff because it has one of the lower hard drives. It's got the 128 or something. You don't think about that very often until like when I got my computer and I put I put World of Warcraft on my computer. Love World of Warcraft, awesome game. Played like I used to have like a priest, like a human priest female or something. And it was funny because I told the story recently. I was like, yeah, I was a human female priest, and like I had this male elf warrior or whatever that for whatever reason thought I was a real chick and literally would literally die protecting me or whatever. Of course, I'm a priest, so I was healing and keeping people alive too. But like, you know, it seemed like it had a crush on me or whatever. And eventually, I did, you know, we were talking. I kind of had to come clean about like, hey, I'm not actually a chick in real life. Like, what? How dare you lie to me? I didn't lie to you. I just didn't tell you. I was like, you assumed. Like, I just didn't say anything, you know. So it's like, I added World of Warcraft on the computer, and it ran fine. Like, the computer handles it. But I went to go and updates or install like the new like software for the hardware for like your operating system or whatever. You know, try to undo updates. I couldn't do updates because it said you don't have enough room. Like, what are you talking about? I only have one program on my computer. Like, why do I not? But then it was like, oh wait, World of Warcraft's like 85 gigs, and then with all the other whatever small programs I have on there, I had like 10 gigs of room on my hard drive, and of course, like you need to have a lot more than that available to be able to install the new. I said, well, shit. So the only way I could get it to actually update to the latest like Mac OS whatever was to uninstall the game, and then all of a sudden I was able to update the operating system or whatever or software. And I was like, well, that sucks. So if I bought a new MacBook with like a higher hard drive, I probably would get back into World of Warcraft because I'd be like, hey, cool, I can put it on here and still have room on my hard drive. But so, you know, it's all good. But anyway, enough rambling. But keep being awesome, guys. Keep doing what you gotta do. And you know, it's like all you can do when things are when you're struggling with things. You know, maybe you're like us. You're dealing with like the depression and just overall sadness because of like change. You know, like it's not bad changes. I mean, we don't like that they're leaving, but you know, they're going off and getting their own place and gonna be living like together as a family, even though they're not married yet. But they've been together for a couple years, so I'd imagine that's on the list. It's the plan, you know, to be tying the knot sometime in the future, you know. But so I'm happy for them. You know, you just gotta do what you can to try to be okay. And I told my wife, I said, well, I mean, it's still gonna suck. We're still gonna struggle when they leave, but at least it won't be as bad as when they left before. But I'm just not looking, because I almost scheduled I told her, I was like, I looked at a movie theater when I got paid the other night. I said I was thinking about scheduling a movie for us on Sunday for, you know, me and my wife and, you know, my kids. But then I thought, yeah, but I might think about the fact that Alex, the grand kiddo, isn't there with us, and that he's not coming back. I mean, he'll come back to visit, but I thought about that. I was like, I couldn't bring myself to get movie tickets because I was like, the depression hit, you know, and the heartache, and I'm like, man. So But to do the shout outs, you can find us on socials. Blodgett Show is on Instagram at Blodgett Show Podcast. You can find my personal socials on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I believe I'm TN Trucker Chris, as in Tennessee Trucker Chris. I'm on X, or otherwise previously known as Twitter, at CEAZ Freedom. And you can find me on YouTube at ChristopherBlodgett. And of course, like I said, I'm probably possibly gonna have a YouTube setup for the show. That's where one of the things too, with talking to that guy that said he could help grow the show and just wants to have a 50-50 partnership as far as the revenue. There's another company that I talked to about a month or two back that basically would do advertisements for the show, like Google ads, and help to grow subscribers on YouTube and stuff like that. It's like they have a week for it's like $150, 2 weeks for like $275, and then 30 days for like $500 for like campaigns or whatever. And I said I told him I was like I'd probably do the 30-day campaign, honestly, pay the $500, because my goal is to be able to get to the point where I have enough downloads per week where I can qualify to get on Red Circle's advertising platform. And that right there would immediately start bringing in revenue for the show, which would be a huge step in the right direction. But what I like about that one, even though it's $500 for the month, is it's temporary. Like, it's a campaign for 30 days and then done, versus like the guy that I'm talking to that's basically wants to not charge me anything, but then have a 50-50 revenue split. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if I want to split the revenue. But I mean, again, like thinking if he can do what he says he can do, and the show is growing and the revenue is increasing, and things are getting better, then okay, that would make it worth it. So a lot of things I'm thinking about, but just gotta keep on looking, keep on working on things. The guy that passed me just randomly started flashing his lights. I'm like, I didn't flash you to get over, so I don't know what your flash your lights are, but I flashed my lights back at him. You're welcome for whatever you're just taking me for again. Maybe he thought I flashed him to say it's okay to get over. But so anyway, guys, those are all the socials. I do have a blog, tntruckerchris.wordpress.com. That's another thing I got to start updating again. But as far as anybody who wants to support the show, normally I would send you to the Blodgett Show website, blodgettshow.com/support, which that's still a valid site, but the site is currently down because I got to pay the bill, the hosting. But so if anybody wants to help, go look in the show notes on the at least last 2 episodes and this one. I'm starting to try to put like the socials, as well as if you want to support the show, and I put in the direct donation link with Red Circle to donate to the Blodgett Show podcast, whatever. So anybody wants to donate one time or recurring or whatever, go to that, go check out the show notes, and because it literally will be like Red Circle whatever. It'll have a bunch of other things that'll say donate at the end of it. So go click that link, and anything as low as $1 to 10, 50, 100, couple hundred, thousand, whatever. Sky's the limit. If you want to support the show, go for it. And I would give you guys a shout out on the show. Anybody who donated, and I definitely appreciate it. Because big plans for the show, but like telling my buddy Dave was like, we had a little debate because he's got a book that's currently being edited and going to be published. And he's like, have you finished your book yet? Like your first book? I was like, no. I was like, bro, I don't have time to, I know I'm going to get it done, but I'm going to have to take time off to actually do it. And he's like, well, you got to make time, bro. I was like, I hear you, but it's not as easy as as easy for me as it is for you, because he comes in by a certain time usually. And then it's done early afternoons, so I have like a handful of hours before he goes to bed. I'm like, I literally get home by like 7 or 8 in the morning, go to sleep, get up at 3, leave by 4 or 4:30 to come to the truck, get to the hub by 5, bobtail to Lenexa to pick up my load, go to St. Louis. And so it's like, I don't have a lot of free time during my week. Hell, I'm off Sunday, and even that day, it's like usually, try to hang out or do stuff. And it's like that's why I try to, now that I'm trying to get back into recording again, so I can be back here consistently for you guys again. Especially with the changes I'm looking at making on the show, I gotta start having episodes post regularly again. So like, I'm not just like, hey, it's been like 3 weeks since the last episode. Now I'm trying to do better. I am trying, but mental health and just depression in general, it's like I'm sure a lot of you can relate when you need to get moving, you need to do something, but you're just like, I don't feel like doing it, man. I just want to crawl back in bed, or like I'm out here in St. Louis, trying to get out of the gate to head back towards Lenexa or whatever, and it's like I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling and I'm telling myself I really need to get going. Like it's 1 a.m. Like I should have left 20 minutes ago. Like fuck. So then I literally, but then I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom though. So it's like I was like, well, but it's already 1 a.m. Like, I'll hurry and do what I gotta do, and then I'll go ahead and dispatch myself and head out and like force myself to actually go back to work. It's like I want to crawl in the bunk and go to sleep. So the wife and I, it's like she and I kind of talk a little bit when I'm home. And, she'll come in the kitchen when I'm getting ready, like heating up food or getting ready to take off to head to work. And she'll come in there and we'll give each other a hug or whatever. And like she'll say a little bit, but I'm like I might speak a little bit. But my problem is when you're deep in your emotions, when you're feeling it pretty heavily and stuff because of changes that are happening. It's like it's hard for me to express that sometimes. So there's one stretch out here on 70. It's like they got the lanes, got like literally one lane, and you got a barrier on each side. One of them is as tall as a truck, and the other one is down to like the door. And I'm driving between these two walls, going, I hope I don't like blow a tire in here, because I'm gonna shut this entire interstate down. Or hope somebody doesn't get into an accident, because I've seen that before too, where I was going one direction and I saw the other side was a parking lot, and it looked like somebody, like a car, came in there and caused an accident that totally screwed up with the semi. And next thing you know, there's like mangled tractor trailer and car or whatever blocking one lane that had barricades on both sides, and nobody can get by, not even the tow trucks. So I'm like, how are they gonna fix that? Probably maneuver on the other side of the barricade, and then have like a crane or something that lifts up one of those cement things to pull one of the cars off the road to clear the lanes. That way they can let traffic flow again, But who knows, guys? But if you want to support the show, please support the show. I appreciate it. Go check out that link on the show notes. If you're new to this podcast, you're not following us on socials, connect with us on Instagram. We're also on Threads. But aside from that, I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Just try to be, literally kind of forced myself to come on here tonight. Like, all right, let me go ahead and get an episode recorded. Let's go ahead and try to get back in the groove. That's what I say with the bedrooms, when we get the bedrooms free or whatever. Like, I think it probably will be a little easier for me to do work, because right now all 4 bedrooms are taken up and we don't really have another separate space that I can go to try to record or whatever. So it's like, if me and the wife are both home, if she's not working, I really can't do much unless I want to like go out to the car or the garage, or maybe try to go record out in the back deck or something. It'll be nice to be like, hey, I'm gonna go off in this room over here, to the little recording area, and I'm gonna go ahead and record this, and work on some writing, maybe work on a story for Friday, because those aren't gone permanently. Those, I do have a story that's written, just gotta record it, but I'm planning to get other stories. My hope with that segment is to, before I bring it back again, to get like 4 or 5 stories recorded and then schedule them all. So that way I'll have like a little over a month of stories recorded for Friday. And that way I'm not stressing about it. Because again, just struggling to come back and be active in this again, it's been tough. Mentally I'm not all there, but I am trying my best to push forward and keep going. Keep working on those goals. Hopefully, eventually, at some point, sooner rather than later, not be so tired all the time, not be working so hard, you know. But anyway, on that note, you guys have a great rest of your week. Keep pushing forward, keep believing, do what you gotta do, keep being positive, keep trying towards your goals no matter how impossible they seem. And I will talk to you guys on the next one. Have a good one.